Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how to write a story about my family. What is your family story? And how does that story shape your own journey? It can be so meaningful to get your family story told, but you want to do it right. You want to do it accurately. You want to follow the right process. You're in the right place. By the end of this video, you will learn how to define the purpose of your family's story, how to gather research, and how to bring the story to life. What is your purpose for wanting to tell this story? It could be as simple as simply wanting to document it or wanting to save it, preserve it for your relative, for your child. I'm currently working with a family on an ancestry family project, a book project, and the focus of the story is their daughter. The person I'm working with, their daughter is starting to ask questions and they're starting to be curious about, the relatives who came before her. And that really is the impetus for the whole book. It's so important to tap into that, to understand why you're wanting to take this journey, because the more you can do that, the more you can really tap into the purpose of your journey, the more motivated you are to keep going. You're always going to face challenges on a project like this one, challenges and obstacles when telling your family story, but understanding your purpose, understanding your why, is really going to help just streamline it and motivate you and make it easier to keep going. You want to choose the story that you're aiming to tell. You want to really pinpoint, what type of story you're telling. And the story that you're telling could range significantly based on whether this is a short essay or a book. I'm focused more heavily on book writing for this video. That's what I do for a living. I help people tell their stories in book form. But at the same time, there's so many different ways to bring that story forward. It doesn't necessarily need to be a book. It could even be a video. It could be, if you have great video footage, it could be a video documentary. It could be audio. I think the elements are very similar either way, that you really want to understand what the story is that you're telling. Who are the main characters? When you think about your family, there could be so many people that you focus on. But this isn't simply just a recounting of, who was in the family and who has been around. This isn't simply just a family tree. It's something deeper than that. It's really pinpointing the main characters that carried this family to the place it is today. Those bridge characters that carried it from the struggle to the success, from tragedy to triumph. Whatever the case may be, you really need to pinpoint who the main characters are and what the main plot points and main themes are. When you really start to figure this out, you start to figure out why and what. Why it is that you're telling the story and what it is that you're telling, then you really can pinpoint and burrow down deep into the research. By understanding scope a little bit better, you can narrow down the research to the key things, the key people, the key time frames. You don't need to go and worry about every single thing, but you can worry about the things that matter the most to this story. And when I think about research, there's multiple levels of bringing that research together. There's obviously going to libraries, community resource places, churches, your own family history documents, pieces like that. There's newspaper archives, there's Ancestry.com. There's so many different places where you can go to find information. It's important to gather as much as you can, because the more information you can gather, the easier everything else is going to be in the actual writing and development of the story. If you have all the stuff, it gets a lot easier. And on top of that, interviewing is so valuable. Interviewing people, interviewing older relatives in your family or historians or people who are really focused on these things, it makes it so much stronger to be able to capture those vivid stories, especially when people are still here. To be able to tap into those special stories, the stories that everybody loves telling around the holidays. The stories that you're telling to new people in the family. Oh, you haven't heard the story about so-and-so. And it's the shorthand. Oh, what about this? It's like, you need those stories. You need those stories told vividly. So you want to interview people in your family. I think it's great to be able to get consensus and triangulation in the stories that you're telling, that it's not just being told from one specific viewpoint, especially a biased viewpoint at that. It's being told from multiple different viewpoints, that each person has their own perspectives that are bringing in and coming together to form this collective truth, that this is the truth that we're settling on, that this is right in the middle of all these things. So I really think it's valuable to be able to do interviews and capture these stories when you can, and to be able to dive deep on the vivid, rich details, just the way things smell, the way things look. You want to take the reader all the way back. You want to take this person all the way back to whenever this story is that you're telling, and make this real and make this rich and make this genuine. You don't want this to feel flat on the page, because the more it feels flat, the less likely people are to actually pay attention to it and want to promote it and read it and carry it forward for the next generation. It's going to be this thing that happened that you worked on. Great. No, you want it to be something that resonates and carries forward, that people are proud of. So you need to spend the time to get those details right and to tell the stories in an engaging way. And those interviews can really help to provide that layering. Within those points, as you do your research, as you do your interviews, these main themes start to emerge, these overriding themes, maybe 2 or 3 themes. What do these lessons from your family story teach you? What are the overriding elements that they face that on a bigger picture level across generations, what did their story mean? What did their story mean for today? What did their story mean at the time? And what are the lessons and takeaways that you can gather from their stories, from their lives? Especially when people have passed away, we kind of see the full scope. We get to see what their lives looked like from a pulled back vantage point, from a distance, and being able to review their lives and to assess the value of it and the impact of it and the importance of it. It's a really meaningful process to be able to do that. And just being able to take their lives and take their impacts and recognize how it all fits in this continuum. The lessons and the struggles and the journeys that they faced are influencing the lessons and struggles and journeys that you faced, ultimately. Even if we're crossing hundreds of years, the things that they did are impacting you today. So it's really meaningful to be able to see how everything connects, and also to recognize that, there's probably 1, 2, or 3 lessons and messages and takeaways that carry over the entire scope of your family story. Structure counts in writing a family story, and structure matters so much because this is the way in. This is the engaging way into the story. The structure can be very formulaic and chronological. This happened, then this happened, and this happened, and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe that's the best way in. There's also non-chronological, and there's jumping back and forth in timelines. And that requires a really great mastery and understanding of the stories at play and how they all connect. If you can pull that off, kudos. I think it's an amazing thing if you can pull it off. I've worked on a couple projects that jumped around in timelines and were non-linear. And when those projects emerge, they're so special. That's what I love about family projects and family history projects, is that you get the chance to really tap into the spirit of the message of the story. You really get to understand how everything connects together. And the deeper that you can go on that, the more creative you can get in the storytelling and the way that you structure the story. So don't be afraid to think non-linearly, and also think about stories and books and movies that worked really well on that level. The Godfather Part 2 was a great movie. I mean, it's one of the best movies ever. And it jumps back and forth between timelines, and it works. There's a reason it works. It was mastery. That was storytelling mastery. There needs to be a level of that if you want to do that with time jumps and back and forth, but it's possible. So as you think about the story that you're telling, think about how all these pieces fit together, and think about the best ways of putting all those pieces together. And as you do that, you can bring your story to life. You can breathe life into these elements of the past, which I love. I love being able to do that. I love being able to capture those pieces for eternity, forever. To be able to say that we've put this in writing, we've documented this, we've gotten this down, and we got it right. It's such a special thing. It's such a meaningful thing. It's such a profound thing, that these stories don't just fade away with us, but they can carry forward. And there's almost nothing better than it in terms of writing. You know, a lot of times when I work with people, because I work as a book ghostwriter, a lot of times when I work with people, it's a focus on revenue opportunities, using a book as a marketing tool, which is great. I have nothing wrong with that at all. It's so powerful when the focus is simply capturing my family's story and getting the story right and documenting the past. I just think it's so special when those projects emerge, because there's a deeper sense of purpose here. This is about who we are, and it's about who our ancestors were, and it's about how they impacted us, you know? And it's a hat tip. It's a way for us to honor them. It's a way for us to make sure that their stories resonate and carry forward. And I just think that's such a powerful, awesome thing. So I'm glad that you're thinking about capturing this story yourself, and I'm glad that you're really considering the impact of this, that you can do this, that this is worth preserving, and this story really matters. If you're interested in learning more about how to write a story about my family, I would love to talk to you. I'd love to connect. Definitely head to my website. It's goodghostwriter.com. You can click the link below. I'd love to discuss your family story, what it would take to bring it together in book form, how it's possible, how it's done, and all those sorts of things. I just think it's great that you're interested in bringing your family story forward, and I want to offer any input, tips, and guidance I can. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.